It's beyond dispute that one of the most powerful figures on the planet today is Russian President Vladimir Putin. And as so much of the West descends into woke secular insanity, many see Putin as the one man above all defending traditional civilization from its liberal onslaught, a defense that has attracted most especially the admiration of people of faith. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and here are 5 reasons why Christians around the world love Vladimir Putin. Number 5, Putin is a patriot. One of the most stubborn facts that eludes so much of the Western media is Putin's sky-high approval rating at home. It's widely recognized that Putin consistently ranks as one of the most popular national leaders on the world stage. Most recently clocked in an astonishing 82% approval rating, and he actually ranks highest among the younger generation of Russians. But the reason for that is simple. We have to remember that when Putin came to power, Russia was socially and culturally broken. After the fall of the Soviet Union, it lost a third of its territory overnight. And without rediscovering a compelling cultural meta-narrative that could bind the nation together into a single, unified civilization once again, many believed Russia would further dismember. Something far more compelling than communism, something deeply rooted in the Russian soul would have to take its place. And that is the real contribution of Vladimir Putin. He found that the way forward for Russians would be a return, a re-traditionalization that would involve reawakening Russia's pre-Soviet history, her Christian culture, traditions, and customs that would serve as the foundation for rebirth and renewal of Russian civilization. And that is precisely what happened. Number 4, the revitalization of the Russian church. One of the major reasons why Christians around the world love Putin is because his administration has overseen one of the most astonishing Christian revivals in recent history. When the Soviet Union collapsed, in its wake, the church was ravaged. There are only about 2,000 churches left in the whole of the nation, perhaps a handful at most of some of its most famous monasteries. Only about 30% of the Russian population identified as Christian. Today, 30 years later, the church has grown to more than 40,000 parishes, with 800 vibrant monasteries and innumerable welfare and educational ministries spread throughout the country. The most recent surveys corroborate that 70% of the Russian population call themselves Orthodox Christians, and an astonishing 93% affirm their support and respect for the Russian Orthodox Church. For Putin, the revitalization of the church was essential to realize the renewal of Russian civilization. For it's the Orthodox Church more than any other institution that embodies and instantiates the timeless, eternal values that have guided Russia for the last 1,000 years and promise to lead her faithfully for the next 1,000. Number 3, family values. Vladimir Putin has consistently opposed the legalizing of same-sex marriage in Russia and has declared that the nation is unapologetically committed to maintaining, preserving, and protecting traditional marriage between man and woman as the foundation for a flourishing civilization. In fact, Putin has made it far clearer, frankly, than most Western clergy, that the traditional notion of mother and father has absolutely no conceivable substitute. Putin's recent signing of an anti-LGBT propaganda law has widely been seen as enshrining traditional moral sentiments as a permanent feature of Russian law. Here's Putin defending the traditional family at a recent conference where he contrasts Russia's civilization project with that of a morally decaying West. And ask yourself, what Western leader, even a so-called Christian leader, is talking like this?
Мы видим, как многие евроатлантические страны фактически пошли по пути отказа от своих корней, в том числе и от христианских ценностей, составляющих основу западной цивилизации. Отрицаются нравственные начала и любая традиционная идентичность, национальная, культурная, религиозная или даже половая. Проводится политика, ставящая на один уровень многодетную семью и однополое партнерство, веру в Бога или веру в сатану. Эксцессы политкорректности доходят до того, что всерьез говорится о регистрации партий, ставящих своей целью пропаганду педофилии. Люди во многих европейских странах стыдятся и боятся говорить о своей религиозной принадлежности. Праздники отменяют уже. Или называют их как-то по-другому, стыдливо прячут саму суть этого праздника, нравственные основы этих праздников. И эту модель пытаются агрессивно навязывать всему миру. Убежден, это прямой путь к деградации и примитивизации, глубокому демографическому и нравственному кризису. Что еще может быть большим свидетельством морального кризиса человеческого социума, как не утрата способности к самовоспроизводству? А сегодня практически все развитые страны уже не могут воспроизводить себя, причем даже с помощью миграции. Без ценностей, заложенных в христианстве и других мировых религиях, без формирования без формировавшихся тысячелетиями норм морали и нравственности, люди неизбежно утратят человеческое достоинство. И мы считаем естественным и правильным эти ценности отстаивать. Нужно уважать право любого меньшинства на отличие, но и право большинства. Право большинства не должно быть поставлено под сомнение.
Gang, I've been talking about how the world is going crazy with supply chain issues, record-setting inflation, and sky-high gas prices. We all know how the big box stores were allowed to stay open this whole time while so many little guys, small business owners, regular people were forced to shut their doors. The wealthiest people on the planet became better off while mom and pop suffered. The question is, what are we willing to do about it? How can our voices be heard? And the answer is simple. We vote with our dollars. That is how we make a difference. And the best part is this. What if you no longer needed to shop at the big box stores? What if everything you needed you could get from a family-owned Patriot manufacturer? Well, gang, that is exactly where PatriotSwitch.com comes in. Patriot Switch helps people walk away from the woke corporations by providing a platform to shop factory direct at a family-owned made-in-America manufacturer. That's why Patriot Switch was created, with regular folks like you and me in mind. Check them out. They're awesome. Go to patriotswitch.com/Turley to make the switch today. Number 2, he's unwoke. There's no question that when it comes to bashing the latest woke insanity coming from our Western elite, no one does it more or better than one Vladimir Putin.
It cannot ignore the fact that Russia cannot be defeated on the battlefield. So they're waging increasingly aggressive information attacks. First of all, targeting the young generations, lying on every step, distorting historical truth, attacking our culture, the Russian Orthodox Church, and other traditional religious institutions in our country. Now look at what they're doing with their own peoples. They're destroying the institution of family, their cultural and historical identity, and various perversions with regard to children up to pedophilia are accepted as the new norm. And priests are forced to recognize and officiate same-sex weddings. People can live however they want, and we in Russia have never intruded into people's private life. And we're not going to do that. But what we want to say is maybe they should take a look in the scripture, into the holy book of any great religion. It says that the family is a union between woman and man. And these holy texts are now being increasingly doubted in the West. The Anglican Church is now considering the idea of a gender-neutral God. What can we say? God forgive them. They don't know what they're doing.
And the number one reason why so many Christians love Putin, he's seen as the defender of the faith. Years ago, back in 2006, during Putin's second term, the Washington Times published a fascinating and very revealing interview with Nobel laureate Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who for decades was a hero in the West for the way he bravely confronted the Soviet Union. But returning home to his beloved Russia, he recognized that the roles were increasingly reversing. The secular West was becoming more like the ideologically atheistic Soviet Union, and Russia was becoming the new champion and defender of Christian civilization. And this was in large part because of the leadership of one Vladimir Putin. Solzhenitsyn said, quote, "Though it is clear that present-day Russia poses no threat to it whatsoever, NATO is methodically and persistently expanding its military apparatus in the east of Europe and is implementing an encirclement of Russia from the south. All this leaves no doubt that they are preparing a complete encirclement of Russia, which will be followed by the deprivation of her sovereignty." And the real danger here for Solzhenitsyn was that as far as he was concerned, Russia is all that stands between NATO and the downfall of Christian civilization. The first Rome fell in the barbarian assaults back in the 5th century. The second Rome, Constantinople, fell to armies of Islam. The third Rome, Moscow, has reawakened from 70 years of communism to stand boldly in defense of Christian values in the midst of secular Western storm. Even President Assad of Syria has described Putin as the sole defender of Christian civilization on the planet. The whole of the West has descended into woke secular insanity, and Putin, for right or for wrong, has positioned himself as the most faithful defender of Christian civilization in the world. And that is why so many Christians love Putin. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on how things have gone from bad to worse for woke Bud Light. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.